And everybody, this is the Bluechip Breakdown, and we are your hosts, Bull P and Timmy G. It's another game day Saturday, man, and this one is big because there's so many games with the playoff implications, so we're going to be talking about that. Obviously, we will be also talking about Tennessee versus Mississippi State. We're going to try to take y'all all the way up to about noon. I wish we played earlier today. Man, I'm so tired of having to wait all doggone day to watch Tennessee play, especially versus teams that we should handle. But first and foremost, I want to get everyone's thoughts. Just opening thoughts on this game. I'm going to start off with you, P.
This is another opportunity for us to come out here and see if that offense can finally really find its rhythm, especially early in the game. I think Mississippi State, they're not a great team. I mean, they took Georgia to the wire. Well, not to the wire, but, they gave Georgia a game. Was that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was? They can do some things. They have run a similar offense to what we run, and we know that offense is kind of built to help a team with less talent compete with teams with more talent. So, we got to be on our P's and Q's, be ready to adjust to that tempo. I think you got to get the run game going early, and then see if you can hit some big plays down the field and kind of work on some things to prepare for next week when we got the big one coming, in Athens, Georgia. But overall, man, I feel very confident. I think we should. It should be another great game for us. Should dominate in all three levels, all three phases. So I'm ready to see his guys cut it loose and go play.
Yeah, Tim, opening thoughts.
I'm ready, man. I think we're going to have a good game. I think Mississippi State has a horrible defense, and I think our offense is going to have plenty of chances to do some things. I think we're going to see a big dose of DSAMP today, and until hopefully it gets ahead, then we can maybe see a breakout game for Peyton Lewis.
Yeah.
Nice. So, interested for this game for sure.
Yeah, sounds good. So, I am going to, I guess, go on ahead and we can start to go through the stats and all that type of stuff while everyone is getting in. And please also, once you come in, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Right here, we got G Styles. What's going on? G Styles says, "Go Big Orange." You already know. Also, I'm going to check on that poll here in just a minute, but let's pull this up real quick. Let's see some of these stats. So we're going to start off with Tennessee's offense versus Mississippi State's defense. I almost said Ole Miss, man. I'm thinking about Ole Miss beating Georgia today. So right here, man, I think this is the most favorable matchup for Tennessee. If you just look at the numbers, I mean, it's pretty obvious why. I mean, Mississippi State's defense is just like bottom 10% in almost everything. It might be the worst defense that we'll see all season long. And I went through, watched the film with them versus Georgia, and I was like, man, how did they stick in this game? And it just really goes to show that, man, Georgia, their offense is just, it's not as good as people think. But I think that Tennessee will find a lot of success today. Just like Tim said, DSAMP, he should be able to run all over this team. Their guys up front, they don't get a lot of push. There's not a lot of twitch up there. I think that our offensive line should be able to, really bully them. They're giving up about 212 yards per game on the ground. That is absolutely horrific. That's got to be dead last in the SEC. Third down, they can't get off the field. They just don't have a whole lot of good athletes, y'all. So this is a game that I am expecting, not just for DSAP and that running game with Peyton Lewis, maybe even Keith, to really get going, but also for the passing game down the field to really get going. I think that Nico needs to use his legs. He's got to put that on film, because we need for Georgia and all these other teams to start having to worry about that, because it opens up everything else. But yeah, I would just expect that we are going to be very dominant on this side of the football. But what are y'all's thoughts right here? Anything that kind of stands out to you with these stats?
Yeah. Well, first, Nico's had a great he had a really good game last week, and you've seen him get incrementally better, really, since we started conference play. Against Oklahoma, wasn't phenomenal, but did what he needed to do. You saw him against Arkansas, probably his worst game of the year. Then I think against Florida, the stats still weren't great, but we saw him adjusting and doing things that we've been wanting to see him do, kind of looking guys off, making quicker decisions. I think Bama, he played a good game. I think Kentucky, we really kind of played the best we've seen him play in conference play this season. Can he continue to take that next step forward this week? Because Mississippi State, we've talked about this before, the kind of the upper echelon teams, the teams with a little more self-respect, like a Florida, Bama or Georgia, those teams aren't really going to do that crazy gimmicky stuff we saw Oklahoma and Arkansas do. Is Mississippi State a team that we'll see kind of give us that 5-high look, that kind of those crazy looks? And is he prepared for that type of look? Because I don't think they've shown that all season. And so it'll be another look. We probably, the coach is going to say, hey, we weren't really prepared for that look. Hopefully we're prepared for it this time if they give it to us, because I would expect them to do something other than what they typically do. So I think that'd be key to it, is how quickly can Nico adjust to looks he may not have practiced this week in practice.
Yeah. Tim, what you think?
Man, like Bull said, I'm like P said, man, I'm looking forward to seeing Nico build off last week. I think that's one of the best performances we've seen from him since we've hit SEC play. I mean, minus just the receivers need to catch the ball, right? That was the only problem with last week's game. I feel like he's starting to get more comfortable. I feel like he's maybe he's seeing the defenses a little bit better. I hope that's what it is, but I'm pumped for it, man. I think it's going to be a great day for us. Hopefully we can get some momentum and carry that over into next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dirty Higgins, actually, he brought up a very good point about our basketball team is going to be playing at noon versus Louisville. So nice. I'm going to be kind of, flipping back and forth because there's some other games we'll get to. Of course, we're going to go through our picks and all that good stuff. Well, actually, we're going to try to do some more picks today than what we would normally do because P still kind of needs to catch up. And maybe that'll kind of help to balance things out. But also, man, it's so many really good games. But either way, I concur with all of y'all's thoughts and points right there. I'll show you right here. This is just some of their key players on defense. It really isn't. I mean, really, none of these guys are going to wow you. I'll tell you who I think might be the best is that Isaac Smith, number 2, playing at safety. I like him a lot because he plays safety kind of like linebacker. Like they'll use him in that box a lot. But guys like Stone Blanton, I mean, he does a good job of just kind of like being there. But, I mean, nothing that's going to wow you. He's not a very good athlete. I think that our tight end should be able to get open versus their linebackers. I think that they should have an absolute field day. And then, you've also got Nick Mitchell. I mean, he's kind of like a, bigger, slower guy. We should be able to light him up, passing and running the football at him. Really everyone. I mean, there's really no one here, y'all. I'm telling you right now that's going to worry you. This is a defense that only has 7 sacks on the season. They're averaging 0.78 sacks per game, which is like number 131. So that's almost dead last in FBS. So let's flip it on over to Mississippi State's offense versus Tennessee's defense. Now, this is where we might, run into some problems. We might run into some trouble because Mississippi State's offense is actually good. I like what the quarterback is doing. It just kind of feels like he operates that offense like a veteran. It's like he knows where he wants to go pre-snap. A lot of what they do is going to be 3-step because the offensive line isn't great. So 3-step, but they'll throw fades. They'll throw it 40, 50 yards down the field off of a 3-step drop. So this is a game that our cornerbacks will be tested. And I think that they've held up to the challenge for the most part, but we know if it's a perfect pass, okay, and if it's a, good catch, perfect offense is going to be perfect defense every single time. So we got to watch out for that. Hopefully the pass rush can get home. And he can, the quarterback can kind of move around some, but really, man, all in all, ton of tempo stuff, whole lot of misdirection. It's just like our offense. But I think that Mississippi State has some better wrinkles to how they run certain things than Tennessee does. The simple fact that, I mean, look at these numbers right here. They're averaging almost 400 yards per game, which isn't terrible, but their passing numbers, 255 per game at number 41 in the country. That's better than Tennessee's passing offense. How they are able to operate their, offense better than Tennessee's with less talent, to me, I'm not going to say that it's concerning, but I'm hoping that maybe Heupel and Halsey will take something from Lebby, out of this game and just, kind of use that moving forward because I do think that they operate things well. Not the best Russian, team that we're going to see, but it's better than Georgia's will be next weekend. So y'all can see how things do match up. Our defense obviously is one of the best in the nation. I know that they're going to show up, and have a good game plan, but it'll be interesting because we never faced up against an offense like this, or at least we haven't this season. But what are y'all's thoughts just in looking at these stats right here from Tennessee's defense versus Mississippi State's offense?
Well, I mean, typical defensive game plan, regardless of who you're playing, first thing you got to do is stop the run. How many guys do you have to devote to stopping the run? I think the less you can devote, the better. Can we stop it with 5 or stop it with 6? Those front 4 linemen are going to have a great game. play in the backfield, disrupt the timing, things like that. And really limit the run game, make them one-dimensional, make them do things they don't want to do, which would be a pure drop back team. They like to read option or stick it in the run back's belly and take those shots, similar to what we do. So can we kind of take away the threat of that run game? I think that'll allow us to just play a little bit more free and kind of on the back end, and allow the D-line to really pin theirs back and rush the passer instead of having to worry about the run so much. So I think it starts with stopping the run. And this is an offense that we see a similar version of it in practice every week, and we've seen it since going back to spring. We've seen it for years, right? So we see it every day in practice. So what type of game plan does Heupel have? What type of game plan does Tim Banks have? Seeing this offense, pretty much every freaking day, you think he know how to stop it. So we'll kind of see what his game plan is, and curious to see, and actually seen somebody post this question on VolQuest, which I thought was a great question. Does Tim Banks, does Heupel? You have to figure they know how to stop this type of offense. Mm-hmm. So do they go out and show the true blueprint to stopping it, knowing who we play next week? And, those guys may try to copycat league. We'll see. I think they'll kind of do what they feel like they need to do to win. I think if the going gets tough, they'll shut it down, because I think they know the secrets to really stopping it.
Yeah. So, Tim, what do you think, man?
Well, honestly, I think the most important thing here, and the one thing that sticks out to me, and I hope it stays true, is the third down. Right, we're number one in making them stops on third downs, and that is going to be the most important thing. And here's why: they run a tempo offense. I think that is one thing that Tennessee's defense can be weak to if you can set up consecutive. If they can get momentum and have first downs, because our defense is built on rotation. Right. If you have a tempo offense, you cannot rotate. That's we use it against teams all the time. I don't think they're good enough to do that, but that's one thing that can definitely wear down those big guys. And once the gas tank gets low on those big guys, it's gone. But I don't think they're going to have that kind of success. I think if anybody knows how to shut down a Josh Heupel offense, it's Tim Banks. He plays against it every day. The secondary has been just solid all year long. So many guys have really stepped up. We've seen the linebacker play improve since losing Peely. I can't say enough about Tim Banks in this defense, man. I have total faith in them.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think that those are excellent points. So I'm checking on the poll right now, and we have 93% is in for Tennessee to win this game, and 7% is in for Mississippi State. So to whatever that one Mississippi State fan, thank you for joining us. And we will see what happens later on tonight. Let me get to some of these chats right here. So Dirty Higgins is saying that the game is going to be on ACC Network. And that's the basketball game that's coming up at noon for anyone who would like to watch it. Now, Dirty Higgins is also saying, why do you guys think our coaching staff isn't benching Nimrod when he is consistently dropping passes? If it happens again this game and no one else gets a chance, then we need to fire Pope. Hey, man, you know what? I absolutely love that passion. Like, I love to hear that fire. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of how I be feeling sometimes, too. It's like, man, look. We got to put the best players in here who are being the most consistent. We have too many players. There's too much depth. So if someone is underperforming, there's got to be some sort of a thin line between, hey, we got to, try to help instill confidence in them. And then also we have to make sure that we're putting in the right people so that we can continue to, make catches and keep the offense rolling. But I think really Nimrod, I don't remember what his stat line was last game, but I want to say that it wasn't absolutely horrible. Yeah, he has been kind of dropping the football, but you could point to guys like Squirrel who, he's dealing with that shoulder injury, but, other players too, right? I mean, I don't think that it's just Nimrod, but I do want to see some Mike Matthews today. I think it's time for us to find a true deep threat. Somebody needs to take the top off of the defense. That's the one thing that this offense, really this entire team is missing. Once we get that, this is the most complete team in the entire nation. Let me just tell y'all something here real quick. There's only two teams, okay, that have a top 10 offense and defense in this entire country. Tennessee is one of them, okay? The other one is the Indiana Hoosiers, and we all know how weak their schedule is compared to ours. So this team is right on the cusp of just being absolutely unstoppable. But
Yeah,
it felt like you were going to say something.
No, yeah, I think we will see more Mike Matthews. I think we saw him last week. I don't know what his snap count was, but I think it was probably the most he's had in conference play this season. And we tried to give him the ball on a little quick screen. So I think the staff is trying to work him in. I think we'll see more of him today, and I think they're obviously doing that to get him ready for Athens, Georgia, in another week. So I expect him to have a few catches and maybe even get in the end zone today. I think they'll try to get him involved today for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get to a couple more chats right here. Unsung is saying with Bishop out and no sign of Selden, it'll be Sampson and Lewis, but will Keith get some snaps as well? I think that he's definitely going to have to be ready. That's for sure. The thing about the staff, though, is that we've only been rotating 2 consistently this season. I think that we've got to get to a point where we try to rotate in 3, and this will be the game for us to try and do that because obviously you want to try to use DeSamp, but you also want to try to let him rest. You don't want him to go into next week's game beat up where we really are going to need to, lean on him more. So I would expect that we will see 3 running backs today. I guess that's kind of like a bold prediction for me. Let me also get to Gumps. What's going on? Gumps says, sorry, I'm late working. Thank you. And hey, listen, thank you to everyone that's joining us. My dog G, see you in the house, man. Appreciate you for joining us. And everyone else, go ahead and voice y'all's thoughts because we're almost actually pretty much done with the Mississippi State stuff. We're going to go through this and, we'll kind of put like our final thoughts on it before we get into our picks. But from Mike Harmon, what's going on? Mike says, good morning, Blue Chip Vol fam. Biggest stat from the game, Nico 300+ yards passing. Ooh, I like to hear that. 2 to 3 big plays over 40 yards. I love that. We need a whole lot more of that. Sampson and Lewis both over 100 yards each. One other thing. Congrats, P. So yeah, I think this is everyone's first time seeing you back, P, since the wedding.
I appreciate all the congratulations, and I seen wherever video it was when you at first said it, and I seen a lot of comments like, "Oh, that's gonna come back to bite him in a couple years when Tennessee plays Georgia." And hey, guys, listen,
it is.
I knew it when it happened. Okay, I said, man, this is gonna come back to bite me. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta do what you got to do, and hopefully it works out where I never have to miss a big time game. But yeah, trust me, that was one of the first things I thought about. I said, that's not a good date for a wedding. But hey, you gotta do sometimes. You know what I
mean? Yeah, facts. All right, so listen, everyone that is just joining us, please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. So this right here is Mississippi State's key players on offense. The quarterback, Michael Van Buren. You see his numbers, okay? Only 57% this season, but 265 yards through the air as a starter, and 9 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So this is a guy that, like we just touched on, he can get things done. We have to try to find a way to bottle him up, to try to throw him off. What I have noticed is if you get pressure on him, then just like most other quarterbacks, he's not going to be as good. It's just off of that 3-step drop. It's going to be tough to get that done. But also, again, man, Mississippi State's offensive line, they are not that great. Also, man, David Booth. I hope that I'm saying his name right, but he's their running back. He's really good. Now he's a pass catching threat coming out of that backfield. I've seen him. He has good hands, but he also has really good vision and he has good speed. So our linebackers, those guys are young, but we're going to have to make sure that we are identifying him coming out of the backfield. They will have some wrinkles where they're going to use him as a decoy and try to, throw the football to the middle. So this game, y'all, could be a little bit frustrating, especially early on, but we will figure things out. So just know that heading into it. Also, man, Kevin Coleman, really all of their wide receivers, they're all good. They're all really good. I don't know if Craver's going to go. I haven't looked at the updated status stuff, but if he does go, he's really fast. He can take that top off. All of that good stuff. So they do have players, right? They, especially skilled players. The problem for them is going to be up front in the trenches, and that's a bad place to have a problem at versus our Tennessee front. So that is it for that. But actually, did y'all have any thoughts on that? And I can bring it back up with any of these key players.
Yeah, just I think you touched on it earlier, man. We're going to get challenged vertically down the field. So just continue to show that we can, play the deep ball and win those 50-50 balls, get our fair share of those as well. We want to continue to see those guys stressed in coverage. And I don't know if I had a chance to say this on air yet or not, but, man, I just can't say enough good things about the job Boo Carter's done.
Oh, my gosh. He's balling.
I mean, he's literally, people say, "Oh, you're crazy." No, he's literally. I mean, you have James Pierce. I think you put Will Brooks up there. He's probably the third. Well, you got Jamar McCoy, okay, but he's a top 5 player. He's got a top 5 player on this defense. I think. I mean, he's the real deal as a true freshman. It's not gonna go up from here, but he's that guy for sure.
Yeah, hey, and then too, you know what? Christian Harrison, he's been balling. I mean, he's made both of them look really good.
Hey, and Jordan Thomas, unbelievable.
That's the craziest thing. Yeah, and so shoot, you know what? Actually, not to look too far ahead, but Jordan Thomas should be back next season. So I mean, just imagine the depth that this team is going to have and all the versatility. So I'm looking forward to all of it. But Tim, do you have any thoughts on the key players for Mississippi State?
No, man, not really. I think you guys got it all on that. I'm more interested to watch our guys on defense play than I am their offense guys. So
yeah. So with that being said, who do y'all think is going to have the biggest day for our defense? Because I mean, P, like you started to name off people, and you started to think about it, like, dang, we actually got a lot of people that are playing well. Because you know what, Jalen Smith, he looked great last week, especially just kind of like combing through that film. I think he might have played better than any of our other linebackers. Arion Carter, he's continuing to play well, but I mean, there's several people. You can talk about Omar Norman Light, Big O, several people.
West, I mean.
So I don't know if he's going to play today. I haven't, haven't looked at the updated status stuff, but he might not go today.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see some of like Weathersby. You know what I'm saying? He might get.
We haven't seen him all year, have we?
Yeah.
A little bit, a couple times, but not much.
And once we saw him, you could kind of tell why he's not playing more. He's not quite there. He looks like he's there, but then when you see him actually playing the game, you can tell he's not. He's just not. Well, at least earlier he wasn't quite there. So maybe he'll get a chance. Hopefully we see some young guys today. Hopefully we see some of those guys. Really don't have any backers because Evan Spillman's still out, right? Is he redshirt? We know her.
Oh, I mean, probably
have to.
Probably.
Yeah. So he didn't play in 4, or he didn't play in 5. He only played 4 or like 3.
I don't know.
I don't that many. I think he's been hurt. Since Kent State or something like that.
I think so. I don't think he played any SEC games. I don't think.
Yeah. But yeah. So who do y'all think is going to really step up today? If you could just pick one player.
Man, if I had to pick one player to have like the best day, I'm gonna go with Ricky Gibson. I think they're gonna try to stay away from Jamad, and I think I'll try Ricky, and hopefully he's up for the challenge and make some plays. So I'll go Ricky Gibson.
I like it. Tim, what do you think?
Man, there's so many names to pick through. I've got so many favorites on defense. But I don't know. Call me crazy, man. Will Brooks, coldest white boy out there. Dude, like what a season he's had. I'd love to see him get another pick 6 is what I'd like to see. I don't know, man. There's so many guys, but I got to pick one. I think it probably will be somebody, somebody in coverage. But there's so many guys. We've just got too many good ones to just say one. Like you could name off 10 names on the defensive line that I think could have a good day. Jackson Boyd, David Hobbs, like
good Bailey, freaking Big O, Big E.
What number 19? Always
Joshua Joseph.
Yeah, Joshua Joseph has been just an absolute dog all year. Yeah. Man, there's the defense is full of guys that I love, and honestly, one of my favorite guys on the defense, even though he hadn't like made a bunch of super plays this year, he's kind of set the tempo in some games. Is Jacoby Thomas? I don't know if you've watched it. Did you ever watch his Ball Confidential?
I saw bits and pieces of it.
He's old school. He's talking about who are your heroes, and he's like Ronnie Lott, and I'm like, I love you. He was like Ronnie Lott, Atwater, and he's a Tennessee kid.
Wow,
that grew up in Tennessee. He's been a Tennessee fan, and just listening to the way he talks about it, like he's my guy. Like he's my spirit animal. He's out there on the field.
And he plays that way.
Dude, when that dude comes downhill, that hit in that Oklahoma game, when that dude was laying over there in the water coolers, bro, it was like, oh my Lord. That was solid.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? Speaking of safety, somebody who I think needs to step up today is Christian Charles. He didn't play very well last weekend. We need to see him kind of get back to how he normally plays. So I'm going to be looking out for that. But the one player that I think could have a huge game today is going to be James Pierce. I know everyone's probably kind of thinking that, but I want to say him because the offensive line, man, I've seen, like, I watched them versus Georgia, and Georgia was living in their backfield on the snap. I think that he's one of those guys that, I mean, shoot, if those guys can do it for Georgia, James Pierce can do it, really our entire front. I think that we could, maybe end up getting a whole lot of turnovers in this game where there's interceptions and fumbles and strip sacks and everything. I think that the defense will, once we get things figured out, I think that we're going to pin our ears back and we're going to be just absolutely dominant. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Let me see some of the – all right, so I see a lot of people congratulating P. I know that you already got through that. Let me get this one right here from Dirty Higgins saying over-under is 61.5. So what do you guys think is the bet on that?
I go under.
Under? 61.5?
I'll take it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because, I mean, I don't know. I think we'll probably score about 40-something points. I don't know if they'll score more than like 6.
Okay. All right. I like that.
That's what I thought you was about to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. If you think Tennessee's defense is going to step up how we think. And, I mean, yeah, we haven't given up, more than 19 points all season. So I don't see that happening today, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. What else do we have right here? From Unsung is saying, as good as our defense is, when you stand out, that's saying a lot. Yeah, 100%. And I think he's talking about Boo. Yeah, Boo's been balling. Lamones Jr. says Thomas is the man. Yes. Jacoby Thomas is that dude. And then Gumps is saying Kobe laid the wood on that one. For sure. Hey, man, we're gonna have to get you to change that screen name.
He does it every week, doesn't he?
Wow.
Hey, and then too, so Tim, on Wednesday, I was reading it off and I didn't understand it. I
didn't either, trust me. And then as soon as I looked at it, I was like, oh Lord.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. So G White is saying, I can't say that one wide receiver isn't dropping passes. Easy to lay it on Nimrod, but he and Brew were the only two wide receivers that could catch Milton's hardest throws. Like to see Matthews also, or I like to see Matthews a lot today. Yeah, I agree with that. And he's also saying he would like to see a lot of Lewis at running back too.
All right, so get a large dose of that.
Yeah. I want to see him, man. I feel like last week he really kind of got to get a feel for the game. Like that touchdown run, I mean, it was a short little run, but runs through a guy, shows power, shows strength. So he's a guy, man. Hopefully he can come on here late, especially with Bishop being banged up and Cam Selton being redshirt.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we got about 10 minutes left until it's noon. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our picks, y'all. And you know what? We will kind of like wrap up our final thoughts once we give our pick for Tennessee. So we're going to pick this just short off of ESPN today because, like I said, I want to do more of them. I'm going to just tell y'all what the current record is. I'm sitting at 25-13. P is sitting at 20-11. And Timmy G is tied with me at 25-13. So, Tim, I think that you might be kind of, copying off some of my picks, man.
Yeah, you want to go last. Everybody's stealing this.
Yeah, I know. All right, so
I love it.
We're gonna get to the SEC first, and at noon we have Florida versus Texas. The game's going to be in Austin. Texas is favored by 22 points, and the over/under is 47.5. Who do y'all got on this one? P, we'll start it with you.
Well, do we know if Lagway's going to go, or do we still not know?
Still don't. Well, you know what? I could check on it for you real quick. Or you can try to look it up.
Let's say this: if Lagway plays, I'm going Florida because I think Texas. I don't believe in those guys. Especially after they go out there and look the way they did against Georgia. I was never really honestly super impressed all season. So I'm gonna go Florida if Lagway plays. If he doesn't, I got Texas probably win that one.
Hey, Lagway is a game time decision. So he might go, but I don't know.
Might go, might not.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to pick one, heck, I'm rolling with Florida. They just gave more confidence for the coach, Billy Napier. I think he's gonna get it done for him today. I got Florida upset.
I like it. All right, so Tim, hey, and then too, y'all, you can also just pick the spread. You know what I'm saying? So some of the games, I'm gonna just tell you right now, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the spread on this. I think that Florida will cover that spread versus Texas. 22 points. That's an awful lot of points for me. But
Yeah.
but Tim, who you got?
No, I agree with you on that. I like, and especially if Lagway plays, I don't think there's any way that that Texas covers. But oh man, yeah, I don't know about Florida beating them. I'd love to see it happen. I'll take Texas.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna go on to the next one at 3:30. This is a huge one for me. We got Georgia going down to Oxford to face Ole Miss. Right now, Georgia's only favored by 1.5 points, so it's basically a pick'em game. And the over/under is 54.5. So, P, who you got for this one?
Well, I didn't get to watch as much Ole Miss film as I would have liked this week, so I really don't know a ton about how they're doing what they're doing. I have heard that they're not running the ball very well, so I think for them to win this game, they got to get the run game going a little bit and get Georgia to kind of respect that. But, I mean, I think Georgia is a fraudulent ball club. I think they are talented, and I do think their best game is still out there. They haven't played it yet. I don't think they'll play it this week either. I think Ole Miss beats these guys, and I think they beat them by, maybe 2 scores, like 8 or 9 points, something like that. So I got Ole Miss winning this one.
Okay. All right. So, Tim, what you got on this one?
Man, I know you guys aren't going to agree with me on this. I don't want Georgia to lose this game. I want Georgia to win because I want us to be the one that beat the fucking brakes off of them next week. I think that would help us, honestly, just with the whole playoff thing. But I don't know, man. The thing about Ole Miss is I just don't know which Ole Miss is showing up. Is the Ole Miss that play Kentucky? Hell, is it the Georgia that play Kentucky? Like I just don't know. I don't know what to think this year.
Yeah.
But is it at Ole Miss?
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Screw it. I'll take Ole Miss.
All right. So yeah,
that's I know there's way, but I was
Yeah, no, I most definitely feel you because with games like this, I mean, where it's played at, that can play a major factor. But I know that there's some Tennessee fans that are saying, man, like we want Georgia to win because we just don't see them losing back-to-back weeks, and we don't want Kirby to be out for blood and all this type of stuff. Listen, man, I am not personally, y'all know I'm not afraid of Georgia by any means. I think that they are very fraudulent. I've watched so much film on them. I've watched almost every single game up to this point, and I'm talking about really breaking down film. So I know where their weaknesses are, and their main weakness is with their secondary, man. Their secondary is trash. And if you go back to the game last season with Ole Miss down in Athens versus Georgia, Lane Kiffin dialed up a really nice game. But keep in mind, they were shorthanded like 4 or 5 of their starting offensive linemen like throughout the course of that game. So they couldn't block Georgia's front. But they had people open, like they had stuff that was actually working. People don't look at, some of that small stuff. But I'm going to tell you right now, Lane Kiffin will be ready for this game. I think that he hates Georgia. Like there's something about Kiffin that I think that he just gets it. I have a feeling that not only is Ole Miss going to beat Georgia, I think that they're going to beat the brakes off of them just because I'm telling you, man, Georgia. And the only other part that I'll say maybe as a, positive thing for Georgia is that I don't really trust Ole Miss's secondary. So can they kind of clog up the middle because that's how you stop Georgia's offense? If Ole Miss does that, then this game is going to get out of hand. So I'm definitely going to rock with Ole Miss in this one. All right, so the next game, let me come back over here. All right, so the next one, this is another big one. Actually, P, our nephew Bray is at this game. South Carolina versus Vandy. That one's at 4:15, and South Carolina's favored by 6.5 points, and the over/under is 45.5. P, who you got?
I think this is a bad matchup for Vandy. I just think with what they like to do, trying to hit those read options, those triple option stuff, kind of hitting the edge and stuff like that. I think South Carolina's, that got that Dylan Stewart, they got that Kennard. They're really good there, and they got physical secondary players, physical corners. I just think they match up well for this game. I think Vandy will struggle to move the ball, and so I like South Carolina to win this one. Yep.
Okay, Tim, what you think?
Yeah, I'm taking South Carolina just for the simple fact of South Carolina's defense. They've got a good defense this year, and I think they'll definitely give Vandy some problems. Pavi is that guy. he's having a great year without a doubt. Isn't he suing the NCAA?
Yeah, he's trying to get another year.
Trying to get how are you going to get another year though?
He's saying because he played JUCO, so the JUCO year shouldn't count or something.
Yeah,
because the NIL opportunity is not the same. I don't know what they're trying to say, but
that's some. Crazy. That's some crazy argument. JUCO don't count. It's counted all of the time up until now.
But hey, But
I will
hey,
leave
you know
it
what?
alone.
So many other things too. Like there's so many other things that has held up to this point. I think that anybody who challenges anything that the NCAA does, I think that they're going to win. I don't like they have no real legal anything to stand on. You know
Well,
what I'm saying? Like
statistically
they
speaking,
just don't.
you should win because the NCAA never does. They're
Yes,
yeah, it's wild. All right,
Mhm.
sorry to throw us off the track there.
you good. You good. All right, so y'all are both picking South Carolina. I'm actually just going opposite of y'all. I'm gonna go Vandy. Vandy's playing at home. I think that they are a very well coached team. They've had a good game plan for everybody that they face. Maybe outside of Georgia State. I don't know what happened in that game, but outside of that, literally, man, like they've been in every single game. I expect for them to be in this game too. And I don't really trust Sellers. Like Sellers is a guy that every now and then he's gonna look good. But when he's off, he's way off. And I think that Vandy is a physical team. That's what you need versus the Gamecocks is you have to play physical because everyone on their team is big, they're strong, they want to get downhill. I think that Vandy's up to the task, and I think that they are going to pull it off today. So we're not going to be picking Tennessee just yet. We got to come on down. There's a few more, and actually we're going to try to kind of speed through these. But we do have to, and if y'all want to take y'all's time on this one, then definitely do that. So Alabama versus LSU at 7:30. The game is going to be in Death Valley. Night game in Death Valley. Everyone keeps on talking about how that atmosphere is better than Neyland at night. I disagree. Okay, I thoroughly disagree. I think Neyland's better because Neyland has been louder. But Alabama's favored by 2.5 points, and the over/under is 58.5. P, who do you got?
It's a tough one to call. I mean, but I've been saying all year at the end of the day, I don't trust Brian Kelly. So I'm going to go Alabama 1-1 on the road at night in Death Valley. And I think Milroe has a big day with his legs. I think they hit some big plays over the top. I got Alabama winning this one.
Okay. Tim.
P just said everything the way I would have said it. I mean, exactly. Like the first thing he said was like Brian Kelly. I don't exactly. That is 100%. I just don't think that dude's built for the SEC. Even though this is the first time they have a live tiger on the sidelines, which to me is just just freaking wild. Only the Cajuns, right? Like it was wild. But no, I think for the exact same reasons that P said, Milroe and his legs and Brian Kelly's just trash. Alabama.
Yeah, so let me just tell y'all first and foremost, I think that it would help Tennessee out more if LSU wins this game. And I'm talking not just for this season, but long term. If we can get into a situation where Alabama and Georgia both miss the playoffs this season and Tennessee gets in, then things really can open up for us in at the end of this 2025 class and to start off 2026. Well, we've kind of already gotten off to a good start, but we can close up 2026 well too. I think that just moving forward, we need to be rooting for Alabama and Georgia to start to take that step back so that we can continue to take those strides forward. But I do think that Alabama is going to win this game for the same reasons that y'all mentioned. Brian Kelly, he's a joke. I hate even listening to what he has to say about football. He doesn't strike me as a real football guy. But I mean, obviously he is, but he's got, I think, a pretty solid staff. My biggest thing, though, with LSU is that if they do win this game, we know that they haven't ran the football well. But I'm curious, is it more that they haven't really stuck to the run as much as they could? Because if you look at, some of their plays, man, they look like they should be able to run the football. They've got a good offensive line and all that. So I think LSU would probably be more dangerous than Alabama would be, anyway. But I also think that LSU, if they win this game, they could go on to, lose another one on down the line. But I am going to go with Alabama because I honestly think that they will win. So the last one right here, we've got Oklahoma versus Mizzou. That game's going to be at 7:45. I don't think too many people are going to be watching this one, but it does have some playoff implications. Oklahoma is actually favored by 3, on the road. That I think that should tell you a lot. And the over-under is 41.5. P, who do you got?
I'm going Oklahoma here. Call me crazy. They got the quarterback back, whatever his name is, Jackson Arnold. He's been back the last week or two. They let him start, and they're mixing in the other guy. So I think the offense is kind of starting to get going a little bit. Missouri hasn't looked great. I don't know if the quarterback's still out or not. But either way, I'm going with Oklahoma to win this one.
Okay. Tim.
Yeah, I'm kind of like P on this one. The thing is Cook. Do we know if
I don't
Cook's
know
playing in this one or not?
I'll tell you in just a second. Let me take a look.
I hate Drinkwitz. I want to pick against him just because, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I despise him way more than Brian Kelly, and that's
right. And
Yep,
it'd be good to get Venables for him to keep winning too.
Yeah, for sure. So Brady Cook is going to be out for this game.
Ooh, yeah. I'll take Oklahoma.
Oklahoma all day long.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oklahoma as well. And you know what? Since it's 12 o'clock, I was going to try to pick some other games around the country, but we are just going to go ahead and get into the last one right here. Our Tennessee Volunteers hosting the Mississippi State Bulldogs at 7 o'clock. And we are favored by only 25.5. To me, that's a little bit disrespectful. I think that we should be able to win this game by more points than that. And the over-under is 61.5. P, who do you got?
Man, I think this might be the game we finally put it all together. The first conference game we put it all together. I think the offense is going to finally do what they've been needing to do all season, which is freaking hit some deep balls. I think Dylan Sampson's going to continue what he does. He's going to run the ball. He'll be up over 1,000 yards by the end of this game. I think he'll have 2 or 3 touchdowns. He's going to continue to widen that gap with his single season record for rushing touchdowns. I think we have a complete game. I do. I think we'll see Mike Matthews get in the end zone. I think Brew McCoy is going to finally get a chance to get in the daggum end zone and get everybody some cookies. I think we'll get a couple turnovers on defense as well. I think, like I said, James Pierce getting after it. I think Jamar McCoy, Ricky Gibson, everybody. I expect this to be a complete game. I think Tennessee wins big. We'll call this one probably like 48 to 6, or we'll go 48-9 Tennessee.
Okay, I like that. All right, Tim.
Tennessee all the way, baby. Rocky Top. I think it's probably going to get nasty. I hope it is. Like P said, I hope this is the game that we put all the pieces together. I think we will. We've seen Nico grow week after week. I think he's getting more comfortable. I don't think their defense is going to be able to confuse him enough or even have the talent to do that with. We're looking at a defense that's comparable to Kent State, if that tells you anything. The guys are going to eat. Give me Tennessee. Give me 51-14.
Man, I like that. Okay, so I came into this I want to say on Wednesday. Huh?
Oh, my bad. I thought you were saying your record. It was 25-13.
Yeah, no. I'm just thinking about what day was it that I was talking about. My keys. I think that was on Wednesday. But the whole point of where I was going with that is I feel like Tennessee needs to get off to a good start. If Tennessee wins the toss, I think that we take the football. Can we come down the field, have a complete drive, and score 6 points? That, to me, will set the tone, not just for this game, but for the rest of this season. I want to see that. I want to see us execute and look crisp. I expect, like y'all touched on, dominance up front. I expect for our running backs to eat. I expect tight ends, wide receivers, multiple guys to – I want to see that swag start to come back to this Tennessee team. I want people high-fiving and dancing and celebrating and all of that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to see from the offense. And same thing with the defense. That's pretty much how they always play. But I want to see them pin their ears back, go hunting. Everyone stay healthy. Let's go get turnovers. Let's make some big hits. Let's be fundamentally sound. I want to be able to come back tomorrow and give everybody at least an A, and that includes our staff. So I hope that the game plan is right. But I do think that Tennessee is going to show and prove that we're ready to go down to Athens next weekend and handle business the right way and head into the playoffs on our way to the national title. Give me the Vols, 56-3. All right, so that's going to be it for this one, y'all. And we will catch y'all after the game. It's going to be late, but we are going to try to stream live with you. So we hope that everyone will be joining us. Please do us a very big favor. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. And we'll see y'all a little bit later on tonight. Thanks. Peace.
Later, guys.